Lifestyle Live. Come and see, you'll agree. There's a positive energy. Lifestyle Live.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Lifestyle Live Podcast.
Faces you know and a team you can trust. Stories that form your heart. Lifestyle Live. Lifestyle Live.
Anxiety? Check. New emotions? Check. Feeling overwhelmed? Double check. In today's post-pandemic world, so many of us are trying to find new ways to experience a deeper happiness and find our joy. On this episode of the Lifestyle Life podcast, meditation yoga teacher Jaidev shares strategies for relaxing our bodies and our minds and working through difficult emotions in a healthy way. This is the Lifestyle Life podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
Lifestyle Live.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number biggest sale of the year. All beds on sale up to 50% off the limited edition smart bed. Plus free premium delivery with any smart bed and adjustable base. Ends Labor Day. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Lifestyle Live.
Well, it is certainly a new normal for all of us in this post-pandemic world. So here to help us manage our anxiety, I guess you could say, is Jaidev, meditation yoga teacher and owner of Life Force Academy. Jaidev, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
So happy to be here with you.
Absolutely. I love talking meditation. We talk about this every once in a while on Lifestyle Live. And I know a lot of people have really gotten some comfort from it and have really allowed themselves to feel better. So what have you seen? What tips can you offer us in this world where, Jaidev, everything seems to be going crazy right now? We just don't know how to hold it all together at sometimes.
Well, I think the first thing that we have to do is we have to know ourselves, and we have to really learn how to do that, because a lot of us haven't grown up learning how to actually get in touch with it, who we are and what makes each of us valuable and what makes each of us feel confident in ourselves, and really from a basic perspective that has to do with keeping our inner, what we could call inner vitality good. And this is one of the things where yoga and meditation are so very helpful, because in those systems that are very, very old, these are practices and arts and sciences that have been used for literally thousands of years. They really understand how to access and how to kind of activate, so to speak, an inner vitality that helps the mind feel more comfortable, helps us feel more confident in ourselves, especially when things are more difficult, as they are for so many of us right now.
Yeah, I know it's certainly not an easy thing to do, living in this era, I guess, of things feeling overwhelming. It's interesting to me, you talk about in this highly connected modern age, which we are bombarded, as you say, with opinions, social media feeds, conflicting news stories. Where do you find your own center? I know for me, Jaidev, I went through a period where I had to actually unfollow certain social media news sites because it became too much. It was too heavy. It was a lot. And I feel like there's so much that we cannot control in this world and things that happen. So I needed the feeling of power to be able to take control of the things that I could perhaps change in my life. Is that something that you would recommend? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that as well.
Well, certainly, I think there's a lot of wisdom in having mindfulness and some discipline around what are we going to expose our minds to, especially habitually. I think it's really unwise to just allow anything and everything to enter into our psyche on a habit where we're just kind of endlessly scrolling or always paying attention to what's challenging and what's kind of going wrong in the world. So definitely, this is none of us have have dealt with this in the way that we're having to deal with it now. I'm raising, my son who's 16. I know lots of people, they have kids out there.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I was growing up, we didn't have access to the amount of connectivity, global connectivity through the internet that we had when I was growing up. So we didn't really have necessarily like hygiene and discipline around our habits in regards to that. So I think we as a collective, but starting with us individually, we got to figure that out. And it's the amount of information that is available to us now, and the amount that's coming at us all the time puts a tremendous pressure on the psyche, a tremendous pressure on the nervous system. So once again, I always keep going back to, yes, on the outer level, for sure, it would be wise to have disciplines around that. I always feel like the starting point is, first, I need to make sure that the vitality inside of me is greater than the stress outside of me. That's and that when that's there, then all these other decisions tend to be a lot easier, because otherwise you're trying to figure everything out is just impossible. There's too many
it's hard.
It is hard.
And I think so many people, Jadi, they ask how, what tips can you offer us when we're in that state of, how do I do that? How do I feel better? How do I overcome? How do I get to a sense of peace to where I feel okay again?
Well, you start with your breath, I think. And because somehow or another, you have to figure out how to get the mind to settle down and to get the nervous system to relax and get the endocrines, the glands, to balance. Because if the mind is going, worrying, or it's got stuck in a deep kind of fog or depression, well, you can't, working with the mind to change the mind is very hard. But if you can work with your body and your breath, which we do in yogic exercises, meditation exercises, in a certain way, you're bypassing the thinking mind, so that you can make an adjustment. In a certain way, it feels like, let me push this lever that way and push that lever this way. And all of a sudden, the wires that seem to not be connected and weren't firing properly, now it feels like connected again. I feel like myself in my body. I feel like me. I feel like I can do this. And so it's not that the problems outside of us disappear. They don't. But our ability to engage whatever our life is asking us to engage improves tremendously. So I say you take a deep inhale and you start with your breath. However, just taking a few deep breaths for most of us isn't going to do the trick.
Yeah, right.
We would have all been all right a long time ago. So that's why, we work in our Life Force Academy. That's what we do it all the time, is do you have 15 minutes to just do an exercise?
Yeah.
You don't have to know how to meditate. You do an exercise that gets your body and breath involved, that will bring you into a meditative zone to where you're going to feel good. You're going to feel good.
Is that what it's all about? Is it mind and body coming together through yoga? Because I'm curious to hear your take, if people listening at home thinking, okay, what really can yoga do for me? What have you heard from people who perhaps weren't quite familiar with it, how it's changed their perspective and even their lives, their body, their thinking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people, nowadays especially, they think, they hear about meditation, they should be meditating, maybe they want to meditate, they don't quite know how, or they hear about yoga and they think about stretching, and it seems like it's about stretching, and maybe it has something to do with spirituality, but not quite sure. But yoga at its heart is a way of meditation. It's a way, and what I mean by that, it's a way of getting the body, the mind, the nervous system, and the endocrine system all kind of on the same page. And what that feels like in the body is, it feels like you have a lightness of being, you feel comfortable in your skin. What it feels like in the mind is that there's a sense of relaxation, but it's not like you're just chill. It's like a relaxed awareness. There's not only is it relaxed, but there's also almost like which sounds like an oxymoron or a juxtaposition. It's a relaxed energization. And that will give you creativity. That will cause you to feel inspiration. So the reason why yoga and the type of yoga that I teach and practice is called Kundalini yoga. And it's very powerful in this way, very effective, and especially very effective for people with very short amount of times. And I only have 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Most people don't have a lot of time, myself included. So we need something that will give us some impact and effect pretty quickly. And so if you can get your body involved and your breath involved, you can move yourself into that kind of meditative zone much more effectively with yoga practices. And so I think that it just works. It works.
Yeah.
If you got a body and you can breathe, it can work for you.
It works. If you have, before we let you go, a couple of tips for people listening, thinking, okay, let me start small. I want to build my way up. Any recommendations for them to at least just to get started, to get their body moving?
Yeah, sure. Something that somebody can do right now. You can take an inhale through your nose and try to do it only through the nose, not through the mouth. And then after you inhale through your nose, then you suspend it in. That means you keep it in for, say, about 15 seconds. Suspension, we mean you keep the breath in, but try to relax your upper body with the breath held in. You could try it real quick. So people can take an inhale, not if they're driving and listening, but otherwise, take an inhale through the nose and then suspend it in for about 15 seconds. And then after that, after about 15 seconds, or just to where you can, you shouldn't get to the point where you're gasping for air.
Sure.
And then you just exhale as slowly as you can through your nose till the breath is all the way out. And then you inhale again through the nose. You suspend it in for about 15 seconds. And then you exhale all the breath out after that. And that's the key, getting all the breath out. And then you keep doing that. Go 1 to 3 minutes. Take your phone out, put a timer on for 3 minutes, and see if you can do that. The mind will protest, especially if you're not used to this. As soon as you start working with your breath in this way, the mind will protest. At first, you'll feel annoyed or aggravated, or it'll feel difficult. But just go for that 3 minutes and see how it changes you.
I like that. See how it changes you. Give it a shot. I think it's something we can all do and something that we can all feel better from, for sure.
Lifestyle Live. Lifestyle Live.
Jadiv, thank you so much for your time this morning. It was a joy and chatting with you. I appreciate it, and I hope we get a chance to talk again soon. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Lifestyle Live Podcast. Thank you for listening. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And connect for even more on Facebook and at lifestylelive.tv.
Faces you know and a team you can trust. Stories that form your heart.